Welcome to the Millennial Rant, a podcast about whatever's bothering me today. With topics ranging from politics to pop culture, there's a rant to cover everyone. For more Millennial Rant content, you can join me on the web at millennialrant.com. I came across a post a while back about how Gen Alpha and Gen Z are currently challenging each other to write their names without picking their pencils or pens up off of the paper. And I'm like, so cursive? And I knew that cursive wasn't being taught in schools anymore, but there's a big difference between cognitively knowing something and having it actually smack you in the face. And because I remember being in the second grade and sitting there copying over and over and over again the cursive lettering that was on those little banner things, right? Am I the only one that remembers these, where they had like the alphabet and it looked like a piece of lined paper, right? And then it was the upper letters and then the lowercase, and my second grade teacher had them decorating like the whole upper corner-ish part of her classroom. And I had to sit there for like, well, it felt like ever, probably wasn't, but it felt like forever, copying these letters and learning how to read them and learning how to write them. And the next time that I really was like hyper aware of cursive as something that was a dying art was when I was in my Master's of Fine Arts program, and we had to write on each other's stuff. And one of the boys in class had the prettiest handwriting I've ever seen in my life, just absolutely gorgeous. And one of the other girls in class told him that he needed to stop writing in cursive because she couldn't read it. And I'm like, then learn how to read it, because it's gorgeous. And it's a lost art, right? It's something that people don't really practice anymore. You have people who do calligraphy and everything, but that's more of a hobby. It's not like an active part of our lives. I can read cursive. I can even write cursive, but I'm not particularly well studied at it. It's not something that, is really an active part of my life. Print is just that much less work, right? And so this idea that cursive has become something that Gen Alpha and Gen Z, who are known for swallowing Tide Pods and goldfish, that it has become something that they are using to challenge each other in the day-to-day as if it's a Tide Pod or a goldfish. I'm like, how did we get here? What? And it got me really thinking, why did we stop teaching cursive in school? And there are different reasons that I've heard given. One of them is that it's not really used anymore because people don't write. They don't really handwrite things, which is not untrue. We're a very, digital society now, where we do almost all of our reading and writing on the computer or other electronic devices, and they don't utilize script really at all unless you're not doing it for stylistic reasons. But I'm not going to pick up my Kindle and have an entire book be written in, French script. It's just not going to happen. So that's definitely one reason why we've stopped teaching it. Another reason why I think we've stopped teaching it is because it's a lot more time consuming. To be able to write well in cursive in a way that people can read what you're writing and have an understanding of what it is that you're saying, it takes time, and we've put these kids on these educational conveyor belts where we put them on and we pump them through as quickly as possible, whether or not they're actually learning anything. And in order to do that, to have this conveyor belt run at peak efficiency, you're going to drop things like cursive and traditional longhand math, which is what we're seeing. But the real reason why I think they've stopped teaching cursive is because then if you're not taught how to write and read in cursive, then you can't write and read in cursive. And if you can't read cursive, then you can't read the original founding documents of our nation as they are written. People will call me a conspiracy theorist. They'll say that, I'm blowing things out of proportion, that you can find a copy of the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution or the Federalist Papers in print anywhere, which is true for now. But how do you know that what is written in that, printed version of the Constitution is what's actually written in the Constitution? How do you know it hasn't been changed if you can't read the cursive that the original Constitution was written in? It's not rocket science. For any oppressive regime that has come in throughout history, they've done, 3 or 4 major things, right? They have taken over the schools, they've gotten rid of guns, and they suppress literacy. It's not unreasonable to think that if there was a malignant force out there trying to deliberately change the direction of our country, that they would deliberately remove from us the ability to comprehend the documents that made our country. And that includes the Declaration of Independence. That includes the Constitution of the United States, all of which were written in cursive. So again, call me a crazy conspiracy theorist if you want to, but we ran into the same thing with the Bible. People don't realize that the Bible was not originally written in Latin. It was written in Greek and Aramaic and in Hebrew, but it was not in Latin. And it was only after the Roman Catholic Church took over that they translated it into Latin, which by that point was already falling out of favor as a common language that people knew. It was a language of the elite. And so the everyday common language that people had, they couldn't read it. They had to just accept that what the priests and the clergy were telling them was in the Bible was actually in the Bible. And when it was eventually translated into English, it was translated into English from Latin. So there was, who knows how many translation errors, because it went from Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic to Latin to English, German, whatever. Is that to say that's the case with all of the Bible translations? No, it's not. The King James Version, I'm pretty sure, was translated from the original Greek and Aramaic and Hebrew into English. But even then, there's going to be translation errors. So if you really want to know what the Bible says, you're going to have to read it in the original language. And in order to do that, you have to know the original language. But most people don't know Greek and Aramaic and Hebrew. So you just have to rely on the translators and assume that they're telling you the truth. And it's the same thing with cursive. If you cannot read it, you cannot know for sure that it says what you're being told that it says. So don't let cursive go the way of Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic. It's not like it's that difficult of a thing. At the very least, it's still English. So learn cursive. Take a calligraphy class. Go on YouTube. Whatever. They have really great books that you can buy where you just go over the stencils like you did when you were, 5 and learning how to write print for the first time. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you are not allowing yourself to be turned ignorant, I suggest that you do. Because if we lose these founding documents through sheer ignorance, then that's on us. There's nothing that we can say to defend ourselves as the country's falling apart because we weren't willing to put in that modicum of effort to hold on to it.